G'day, I'm Brett. Welcome to the podcast. Sorry that took a while. We're just here to discuss your the app that you guys are working on. We've got a bunch of questions to ask you, but we'll just start first of all just with a quick introduction about yourself and what your company is doing.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, obviously, pleasure and a privilege to be here, and for you guys inviting us in, for this podcast. So, just a little bit about us. We originally launched as Explore.com, which a lot of people do know us as an online travel agency. So since the pandemic, actually, we, as we like to say, a lot of people went into hibernation. We went into innovation. So we had to sort of look at ways in which we could pivot. Just understanding the challenges that, the whole Pacific was experiencing with the pandemic closing up our borders and just relying so much on tourism. So we've pivoted a lot in towards the technology side of things now and how we can help improve that in the Pacific region. So because of our pivot, we've also pivoted our branding and we're relaunching as a company under Smartie. So that's happening all this year when we launch our app, as well as our web platform. That all comes with it. So the major shareholders in the company at the moment is myself and my business partner Jim Glassy, who actually comes from 34 years in the banking industry. So we've got a strong team at the top, and we're excited to get into what we're launching.
How long have you guys been at this for?
Well, Explore.com, when I built the online travel agency, was actually probably six odd years ago. I started building it out. But the new fintech approach that we're doing now has been for about the last 2 years in development. So we're very close to launch at the end of this year.
Right. And what was the reason for launching the Smartie app? What were the issues that you guys were seeing in the market?
Yeah, so I mean, this sort of goes way back in 2008 when I say this story to a lot of people. I built the first e-commerce platform in the Cook Islands, and back then was for Turtles Teas, and we needed an e-commerce solution where you could accept payments from international credit cards, obviously, so he could ship out his orders. And the only solution back then was PayPal. And as most of us know, the challenge that we have in the Pacific region is PayPal doesn't work with local banks. So you have to have a business registered as well as a bank account in New Zealand to accept payments. So there's limitations that come with that, and that was back in 2008. I mean, we're 14 going on 15 years later, and it's essentially still the same. So I've always had that belief that with technology today, we should be able to bring better solutions to the Pacific Islands. So, when I showed Jimmy what I was getting into, and because of his background in the banking, his eyes lit up straight away and just saw the opportunity there. So, I was excited for him to come on board with us.
And through the journey, what were some of the challenges that you guys ran into? Because I know we discussed it earlier when we were having a chat with you. Yeah,
I'd say that there's two main challenges, definitely in the technology world. The biggest one is obviously financing. Having engineers and developers in this field is a very specialized skill set. So very, very hard to find that locally, anywhere in the Pacific, even in New Zealand, Australia. So it's sort of something that you have to look outside. And once you start diving into the USA and Europe, your costs obviously goes up quite considerably. So financing is definitely a huge challenge in this space. We've managed to get through very comfortably up until this point. And then the second thing is kind of what I just touched on too, is actually having the talent, the skill set. So we would love to have it local and employ local people, but unfortunately it's not sort of focused in our education system in the IT and technology side of things, which I do hope, and we actually plan to be involved with as we continue in the future to try and help encourage and lift up that skill set in the region.
Right. So, because we were talking before we started, you're thinking of bringing people in?
Yeah, right. I mean, as I said, we can't find the talent locally. So I've been working, I've been in web development since 2000, so 20 plus years I've been doing this, and I've always worked with people internationally, naturally. But with what we're launching, and because we're launching a fintech company, which by the way, for those that don't know, it's financial technology. So because we're moving into this space, we want to have our own IT in-house. I mean, that's vital, and it's what is missing with this type of service in the Pacific. As I said, if there's any sort of payment solutions that we're all familiar with, or even the online banking and whatever it might be, if you run into technological issues, there's really not much in customer support and tech support behind it. So, we're not only trying to provide the tech solutions, but we actually want to have the IT talent right there with us too. So if we need to fix something, we can get it done.
Especially on launch, because
absolutely things can always go wrong, right? And that's really important for us, as well as being part of our customer service focus, that we want to always have 24/7 support there.
So obviously you've gone through this journey for the last couple of months. In hindsight, what would be some of the things that you'd probably do different, or any lessons learned?
I mean, there's always got to be lessons learned. If you haven't learned anything along the way, then you're kind of missing something, I guess. Definitely for us, I mean, and like I said, I've been in IT for a while, but I still continue to learn as I do new projects and bigger projects like this one. And the biggest one for us was finance. Trying to go into this sort of space, which is not touched in the Pacific in a way, requires a lot of finance. And because we were sort of restricted on our budget, we tried to look at options of, okay, how could we only spend X amount, which would actually take, twice as long. So probably the biggest lesson in this sort of space is that, we wish we probably arranged more financing up front, paid a bit more for the tech and support, so we could actually get the product out a lot quicker. So it's taken time. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff, so we want to make sure everything looks perfect and works smoothly. So that has drawn out things a bit longer than we anticipated, but we're pretty close to launching this year now.
Because over here, I don't think people are aware of how much these things actually cost to design and build and get it launched.
Well, exactly. I mean, everyone's always sort of driving past my office and they go, "Oh, man, we saw you there at 11 o'clock or midnight and the light's still on." They don't know what we're doing, but they don't realize, the amount of money that needs to go into this, but also to the time, because as I said, we've got to work with talent internationally. They're on a different time zone.
Exactly.
So not only do I have to be in the office during our office hours, I got to be in the office all night as well, because they're on a 12-hour different schedule. So, I got to be available to work with the team. And again, this all comes back to why we want to bring in the talent locally as well. So I can turn around and just say, hey, Arnold, this is what we want to do. Can you get to it? And that's vital for us and really important with our technology.
In terms of government support, you think there'd be opportunities there where government could do the financing part or help you guys out? What would be some of your suggestions to government and policymakers that are...
I think, as funny as this might sound, I actually think the pandemic, in a way, has put more spotlight on what it should have been a long time ago. It's not just tourism. We do need to look at the other sectors that are really important here. And for me, I lived in the US. I schooled there at university, and I lived in Chicago for 7 years, and I was always amongst the tech and the opportunity, the land of the free, as they say in America. And the reason I moved back to the Cook Islands was, with my experience, I believed the impact that I could make here was immense. I believed that the opportunities here are immense. But in order to actually take advantage of those, we really do need government helping. And I do hope that since the pandemic, I think everyone sort of switched to say, wow, we can't just rely on tourism. What other sectors can the country look at? And I hope now that, with the efforts of you guys and the other governments overseas trying to put financing towards e-commerce, I really do hope our government is really paying attention to this, not just in the Cook Islands, the whole South Pacific. I mean, it's needed. And that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing what we're doing. But we can't push it to the scale that we need it to be in order to really take a good control of the market so that everyone benefits. And they need to get behind it with financing, with any kind of hands-on support that they can provide too. But definitely the financing side is so important.
It's because the Silicon Valley model, right? They've got tech companies around and then venture capitalists, and they provide the financing. But in the Pacific, that setup just isn't there. So you're going to need money from somewhere. Right?
Correct. So, I mean, myself and a few others locally, we've invested in startups in Silicon Valley, and we've got it from the ground up. And it's not easy. It takes a lot of money. And then that's only stage one of it, because we have to get our concept out there, and then we have to build the team. So then now we need more financing. And I mean, we're talking millions of dollars. And it's a lot easier in countries like the US and Europe, where they've got larger companies that can get behind all of this because they see the opportunities. For us, we don't have that. There's not large enough companies here that will go, all right, we've got X amount of cash in the bank, let's throw 500,000, $1 million at this business idea, or 100,000 over here, and hope that 1 out of 10 of them is going to hit and we get 100-fold back on our money.
Yeah.
That's how it works out there. For here, it doesn't. So the only way really, and it goes back again to the previous question, how can government be involved?
Yeah.
That's how. I mean, we need that support in order to take ideas of what we have to another level.
Because I think that's important. I think Silicon Valley started off from government injection. A bunch of companies, I think, in the hardware space, they became successful, and then they reinvested the money back into the software side of things, and that's how that whole cycle at Silicon Valley started. So I think it's important that you mentioned that, because that may be a model that we can, government's got to step up and put some money in, serious money.
Yep.
And then I think things will move. So you'll have stuff for the startup, scale up, and then, finally getting to market and stuff. Okay, last question, and then I might ask you a few add-on questions. What could be done from donors and development partners, you think, in terms of helping businesses succeed in this journey? Would it be similar to what governments would do? Yeah,
absolutely. And it's if we look at the services that we're launching on Smartie, so what we're launching is a super app, right? And the concept is one app that has multiple services. So at the moment, we're so used to on your phone, if you want to get a ride, as an example, overseas, you open up Uber. If you want to order food, it's Uber Eats. If you want to read the news, there's an app for that, and et cetera, et cetera. Whereas we're launching one app that has all of those within the single platform. So that's what's referred to as a super app. So for us in Smartie, we've got a payment platform. So if we want to send money instantly to each other, that's through Smart Pay. We've got ride share like Uber that we're launching, so it's Smart Ride, there's food with Smart Food, et cetera, et cetera. So the things that we are going to be moving into as well, the beauty of the platform which we're building is it's designed to be very scalable and modular based, meaning we can easily add on more products. If you came to me and said, Brett, I think it'd be a great idea to studio booking service on your app, we could have it launched in about 2 weeks. Right. So if you went to...
And that would be because you got the developers here and the platform?
Correct. And because of also my knowledge of the setups, I've been doing this for 20-odd years, we've designed it so that we know, okay, well, this shouldn't be that difficult for us to integrate it into our whole platform that's already there, including a payment solution. So, this goes back to the question, sorry to draw that out, but what you were asking is how could businesses sort of contribute towards this? Excuse me. In a way, as we touched on with the US, these larger corporations are looking at trying to diversify their funding, right? Where are startups that we can invest in? Where are stocks that we can buy? We don't have any of that here, really. So that's what we're trying to change, and we're trying to bring those opportunities forward for the businesses, because we're also looking to bring in stock trading, cryptocurrencies, marketplaces, et cetera, et cetera. So there's other avenues there that not just the businesses can start diversifying their funds, our local people too. If I asked you, or if I asked Mama at the market, hey, do you want to buy some Google stock? She wouldn't have a clue. So our idea is pull out your phone, just go to Smart Stocks, and you can buy whatever you want right there. Just $2, $3, you can buy anything. So we want to bring all of that to the islands and make it just streamlined and easy for the users and the businesses to invest in.
I know you guys have been talking to a bunch of businesses, and how's the response been so far?
Overwhelming, to be honest. Because the tech that we have, so, we've got the main backbone of our system is our payment solution. So I can, just through my mobile phone, I can send you funds instantly just by putting in your mobile number or email address, and you'll receive it straight away on your phone. The businesses also could pay their staff, and they could be in the outer islands, and they'll get it instantly on their phone. Away they go. They can start shopping or send it to the next person. There's no delays anymore for bank transfers and waiting for it to clear from this bank to that bank. It's all instant, and user to user is completely free. That's huge for us, coming out with that. And then we've also got our PayPal service that goes with it. And that's so that, for example, the accommodation industry can now accept payments online, international credit cards, and that'll come through locally right on your phone. So again, going to Mama at the market who's selling Kiko hats, we can now let her sell her stuff internationally today. Right. So that's the idea. We want to bring the power of that technology, which we all have in the palm of our hands on phones, So, just presenting that to the businesses, and the accommodation sector is a big one, has been a bit of a jaw dropper for a lot of people, because we're really bringing some innovative technology that's normal out in the big world, but we haven't been focusing on it here. And we've kind of been limited and restricted. The only really financial solutions we have at the moment are through the banks. They've never had partnership opportunities or services such as ours that can work in coalition with them to help better improve the services for our locals and the businesses. And I think the businesses that we've shown this to so far see that, and their eyes just light up and go, oh my God, wow, we see the potential here. This is massive. So it's been great.
Nice. Any time frames on the launch? I know it's difficult in the tech space to predict these things, but if you had everything your way, when would you?
Yeah, so we're planning to launch this year before Christmas.
Right.
So we're pretty close. November is what we're pushing for. December would be the latest. And yeah, we're planning to launch in the Cook Islands. I have a marketing company named Jason, so we're across 9 of the Pacific countries. So the idea is, we've got a foothold in those countries. I've got 2,500-3,000 client base already across the region. So we want to launch it here. We're pretty confident we're going to get a great uptake from the users and businesses on the island. And then from there, we're going to take this model and just multiply it out right across the Pacific, and even with New Zealand and Australia. So the goal is actually, from me to you, if I want to send money, family in Australia or New Zealand, it's instant and it's free. There's no waiting 1 to 3 days. There's no paying fees for it to be sent over. We want to try and cut all that out and just streamline it for everyone. So we're excited to get this launched this year.
It's nice. I think that's all my questions. Do you have anything else you want to mention, or?
No, I think, the efforts of you guys doing these sort of podcasts, and obviously the governments, as I said, especially overseas, trying to put funds towards the e-commerce solutions and trying to help accelerate that in the Pacific, I think has been brilliant. And I do hope that our government really get behind this. I know if we got proper support, we could really do this well, and it could change the country in a very positive way, and just create, I think, so many more opportunities for the businesses and for our locals, with just investing their finances on one and providing greater services for the islands, our rideshare, food ordering, stock trading, etc., you name it. So there's plenty of exciting things that we're getting into.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Thanks for meeting with us.
Yeah.
It's super exciting to hear what you guys are doing, and we'll probably have another catch up and probably do another one when you guys launch, if that's okay with you.
Sounds great. Excited.
And good luck with everything that's coming out.
Cool.
Cheers,
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
All right.